The views and opinions expressed on Lifeguards Off Duty are those of its hosts and guests exclusively. They do not represent any entity, organization, or municipality.
Hello, everyone. I'm Dr. Michael Kachmar.
I'm Tyler.
And I'm Sean.
And this is Lifeguards Off Duty with Dr. Michael Kachmar, the Jersey Shore #1 lifeguard-themed video podcast.
Watch us on YouTube, Twitch, Twitter, and Facebook Live. Listen to us on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, or whatever streaming service you prefer.
If you would like to contact us, send an email to drkachmar@icloud.com. Follow us on Instagram at lg.association.
All right, let's get started.
Let's start the show.
Let's do it.
She said they're gonna lock you up for killing me tonight. And then I bit her lip just a little bit harder. Well, I was so sure it wasn't real. But she's afraid of ghosts, now I'm sleeping in her room.
Hello, everyone. This is Dr. Michael Kachmar. Welcome to Lifeguards Off Duty. Today's date is April 12th, the year of our Lord, 2022. And I want to say hello to Tyler. Hello, Tyler.
What's up?
Tyler, you got your water bottle there, in a way.
What's up?
So, nothing. Just we're both tired today. We're very, very tired. It's been a rough day today, working
at it all
out,
day.
training hard, getting
Worked
ready
like
for the beach.
3 different jobs today.
Yeah, well, that's good. That's good. So we just want to say hello to everyone. We're live right now on Facebook and YouTube and Rumble, and we'll post this on Spotify and Apple Podcasts afterwards. So follow us there. We appreciate there's all our information. We put it up there. We'll run it for the show. We definitely want you to subscribe and hit that like button, and also hit the bell. And you could get a hold of us, drkachmar@icloud.com. We really like you to send us an email, talk to us if you have any questions or you want to come on the show. We do have a phone number. You want to write it down. When we do ask for live comments, you could call up. And you could comment anytime. We watch the comments here, and we could certainly react to them. So anyway, my name is Dr. Michael Kachmar. I'm a board-certified reconstructive foot and ankle surgeon, and I am the lieutenant in the Seaside Beach Patrol.
The lieutenant?
The lieutenant. No,
we
lieutenant.
have other lieutenants.
A lieutenants. And we have Tyler here, who we're all training now to get back on the beach. So we're everybody's looking for lifeguards, and we're getting ready.
Summertime's coming fast.
Yeah.
I don't know if I've ever asked you how you got involved in lifeguarding. What's your origin story?
Well, it's mixed. I was swimming, and my father encouraged me to swim. I was never on a swim team in the early years. When I went to college, I got on a swim team, but I was actually lifeguarding in a pool lifeguarding. I think it's funny, we talk about starting. I worked for Berkeley Rec, and
That's where Tori started.
Yeah,
Tori Bernstein.
Yeah, Berkeley Recreation. I worked for a guy named Mr. Mize, and it was myself and this girl, and we would take the kids to Ocean County College, and they would jump off the boards and everything. We get paid. And then I eventually got a job at the Aztec Hotel as a first it was a lifeguard and then a parking attendant. When I turned 17, then that was it the last year. Then I went on to the beach, Seaside Beach Patrol. I was in high school, Central Regional, and one of the school teachers, Steve Healy, and Bobby Omar, I
know Steve.
They all worked for the beach. They all worked in Seaside Heights, and so they recruited me. I guess they thought I'd be a good fit. And so they told me to take the test. I did, and I passed, and the rest is history. So pretty much that's how it came about. I was in the water. I was doing a lot of stuff before that. My dad was a big time swimmer. My dad swam in high school, so I really didn't have any what's the word I'm going to use? Professional or organized training. But I would be swimming with my dad in the ocean for years and years.
This might be a hard question to answer because it's been your whole life that you've been doing this, basically. But do you remember what your first impressions of the job were? Like, was it intimidating? Was it?
No. Well, first of all, I was very, very, very smitten by getting the job. I mean, it was the lifeguards who were there. I tell you, when I was working at the Aztec Pool, which is right on the ocean, the two of the lifeguards from Seaside Heights used to come there and have their lunch. It was kind of cool. They used to go down the garage, and they looked like bigger than life to me. So when I got the job, I wasn't very wealthy. My father was a factory worker, so I got this job on the beach. I got my own boat. Each lifeguard stand had a boat. I was getting paid to work out, and saving people's lives were fun. I was in heaven, and I was awestruck by the other lifeguards because they were bigger than life. Back then, this is in 1977. It was a different world back then.
I think for a lot of guys and girls in that first summer or two, you can still kind of see it in Tomasello when you talk to him about this shit. It's like this culture shock, and you almost can't believe. I remember my rookie second year, I would be doing the job, and I can't believe this is what I'm doing. I can't believe I'm getting paid to do this right now. This is ridiculous.
Yeah. Well, we worked 7 days a week, 9 to 6 every day. And so you worked every day. And what really we had to do is just make sure your whole life, you had to just get back to the beach at, 9:15 or 8:30, and then you just had to work. Well, I tell you what I remember that I really liked about it. There was a real camaraderie. We all partied together. We all went out. Irrespective, no matter who had girlfriends or whatever, every Wednesday we went out. It was guys' night. There was the whole beach show went out. And no girls, no, just drinking, carousing. You could flirt and everything, but pretty much everybody was just to go out and have a good time and, enjoy each other, that kind of stuff. And then after that, everybody was with girls. But that one time, we did a lot of things together as a beach patrol after hours. We go to all this buffet where all you could eat. We would go down to different restaurants that some of the senior lifeguards knew, where you get special deals, sandwiches and stuff. Mm-hmm. So it was pretty good. I remember when they first opened up the, the water slide, the water slide. So water slides weren't around, and they invented them. And so I don't know what year it was. Maybe it was in the 90s, early 90s. And Seaside had this one, and they opened it up, and they let us have it. The place was closed except for us. The whole beach patrol went in there. And what we did is we actually made a train. So there was 20 guys in one row. We all went down and we broke the thing.
Right after it opened?
Yeah. It was on concrete and steel, and it popped out. I don't know. Good thing it did, because, you'd think that maybe somebody got hurt. But I don't think that it was made to have 25 guys.
Yeah, no, of course
go down. So we broke the thing.
Oh my
God! But we used to go to these dinners. Yeah. Another thing we did too, in those days. I remember drinking age was 18. So we had two headquarters. So we would have not every week, but pretty much, pretty close to every week, a party. So we would invite every girl on the beach. Most of the lifeguards were men. I don't think we really had too many women back in those days. And so we would invite all of these girls and say, hey, we're going to have a party over there at this lifeguard headquarters. And we'd have a keg of beer, and there might be 20 lifeguards and maybe 70 girls show up.
It's the Wild West back then. You guys were hanging out in the headquarters.
Yeah, but it was a piece of the headquarters was a little dump, but we put the keg in there, and but that's how it was. You'd have softball games, you'd have a keg of beer. It wasn't like it is now. I mean, it wasn't that kind of thing with the alcohol, and you didn't even think about it. Mm-hmm. Because the drinking age was 18, I mean, and then you go into the, bars. But you're asking me how that was. That was a great time in my life. I mean, we were saving people's lives, which really we got serious, and we trained real hard. I went out in big ocean, but a lot of the lifeguards there had experience going back 80 years. They were taught by guys who were taught by guys who were taught by guys. So I learned lifeguarding from guys who invented lifeguarding. Yeah. So that was kind of amazing. And I think that has.
Well, you think about it, because our Seaside Heights Beach Patrol was founded in 1934. So you got to figure John had to be in like his 30s or late or like mid 20s when he did that, right?
Yeah.
You know, you go back to when he was a kid, like they still had the old school life-saving stations.
Yeah.
And,
Yeah.
you know.
Yeah. I worked for those guys. I worked for John Boyd, Junie Boyd, and there was a lot of lifeguards who were under them. And, you know, so they passed on that knowledge. So I was lucky. I got that. And it was you know, still some of the best years. But anyway, so I answered that question. But I think it's every year it's unique. I think it could still be really magical. I see, like you said, the young kids when we have our lobster bake, which we have in July, right after July 4th, maybe 2 weeks afterwards. That's a magical time. These kids come down, they got their dates, or you know, and we don't have kegs of beer anymore. But
It's because it's like, you know, because now I'm about to enter my 9th summer, so that like that shine that you kind of first experience when you first get the job, hasn't worn off for me, but you know, it's become a job in some ways. So this, like, for that reason, I love sitting with the young kids so much. Yeah. Because you can just see how excited they are about it, and it kind of like renews that in me.
Yeah, it
gets me going.
Yeah. Well, that's how it is with medicine too. I treat train the residents. When you do something for many, many years, you can get it gets routine. Sometimes you forget about the good part of it. So that's why it's good to have young people come on. And
well, like you said, like it's like, you know, this magic, right? That, you know, when you're surrounded by it for so long, it becomes your norm. Yeah. And it takes, you know, seeing it through the eyes of someone who's fresh to it to remind you, like, oh, wait, I've been here for this long for like a pretty specific reason. But
one thing about the Beach Patrol and where we work, when you think you've seen everything, then something comes up where you're like, holy moly. So that's a good
That's pretty much the first thing I tell every new guy or girl I sit with. It's like, I guarantee you this summer I will see something that I've never seen before.
There's been...
And every time I think I've topped it, something more batshit crazy comes.
That's why I say, you know, we go in some days, it's real calm. Everybody's like, nothing's going to happen today. I'm like, no, you'd have no idea. So anyway, I want to talk, something today, and it has to do with we're going to talk about lifeguard and taking the test and what qualifications there are and what you need to become a lifeguard. But it's interesting. A couple things have happened in the past couple of days that made me talk about this topic, and you'll see what I'm talking about. So the first thing is one of the women at the gym. She's one of the fitness instructors at the Y. Asked me what the test criteria is, swim test for lifeguards. And I said, well, we follow USLA, which is you have to swim 500 yards under 10 minutes. And I'm very sure there's other tests for other places, but that's USLA. And she says, well, are they flexible? And I said, I asked, what do you mean by that? She goes, well, what if you can't do that and you want to be a lifeguard? So I didn't take that any further, but I just thought about that. I know where she was coming. She was talking about this thing. Well, if somebody wants to be a lifeguard, why should they be limited if they can't pass the test? So then I was watching also Steve Crowder. I love watching Steve Crowder. I think he's one of my I try to emulate him and Joe Rogan. But
some of his opinions are a bit extreme for me.
Yeah, it's okay. Well, that's what. But you see, his thing though. That's what you want to have in this country.
Oh, it's
it's free
love
speech.
The fact that he's allowed to do what he's doing.
Yeah, that's right. Absolutely. Right, exactly. Yeah, exactly. I don't like the idea of somebody burning the flag, but I also agree that it's free speech. So they had a thing on where he said, "Change my mind," and he was talking to these college students, and specifically about transgender. Men who are competing with women, and so it went into this whole thing. And it sort of gets in. So you get into a little bit about equality and equity. So I want to talk about this, specifically about lifeguarding and who could be a lifeguard, who should be a lifeguard, and what the criteria should be to become a lifeguard. Because I can tell you right now, I know whether or not we're going to agree or not agree, but this is an interesting subject. So here we have our whiteboard. Maybe you could get rid of that thing for a minute. So I want to make a couple points here. So here we have so on the top we have a thing. It's called equality. of opportunity. So equality of opportunity, right, equals equality. Okay? What are you laughing at?
Like how you spelled equality the second time.
Did I spell it wrong?
You wrote equitity.
No. I kicked it. Yeah, equal titty. All right. Equal titty, you like that? That's a sub, yeah. Equal, that's like the Saturday Night Live with, who's that? Sean Connery. He goes, Sean Connery, I'll take, sweaty titties for.
Celebrity Jeopardy. He just has the most, like,
it's
offensive
great.
shit. Yeah.
So we got equity. So equity of opportunity. Okay, that's what that equals equity. That's what I believe in. And what does that mean? That means that's when they when they had the Declaration of Independence, all men, really all people, are created equal, endowed by the Creator with inalienable rights of life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness. Life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness. Okay, and we, what does that mean? What does it mean? But then we have this other thing where people now are talking about, well, wait a minute. So equality of opportunities means everybody has the same opportunity. It doesn't matter if you're black, white, Hispanic, if you're woman, man. Everybody, we should try to have where everybody has equal opportunity.
So what constitutes an equal opportunity?
Well, let's not get to that point right now. Let's just get the general concepts first. So opportunities. You should be able. Everybody, if you want, you should be able to do what you want to do and have the opportunity to try to exceed and do well. What has happened though, there's this new thought, and it's called equality of outcome. Okay, now equality of outcome really means equity. Okay, and equity kind of means you could participate. So people are pushing now. They're using the two terms interchangeably. And really, when you talk about this gets kind of heavy. When you talk about equality, that means opportunities. But there's difference there. It's a very subtle difference, but there's a difference between outcome and opportunity. Now, follow me here, okay? And I'll tell you, and really, what we really should be looking for is really tolerance. And tolerance is, I think, the key where we miss things. And tolerance is existence of an opinion or behavior. Listen to what I just said. Existence of opinion or behavior that one does not necessarily agree with. That's tolerance, and that's a different thing. So let's go back to with the lifeguards. And we have, this woman was asking me the question, basically, is there any modifications to the requirements? And we start to talk about, well, what do you mean? Well, what if somebody I have who can't pass the test, maybe they're a minority, or maybe they have one leg, or maybe they have some kind of impediment. Should they, but they want to become a lifeguard. That's their lifelong dream. So we want to make sure that they have equality of outcome. We want to make sure we're going to make them a lifeguard if they want it. Just like we talk about this transgender person who swam with the women. Why should we hurt her feelings, or why shouldn't we, or him, let him swim? So my point is why don't we modify the test? Why don't we say why we have that? So let's just say that we're going to make certain people, they don't have to do 500 yards in 10 minutes. Maybe they could do 500 yards or maybe 200 yards, and we'll hire them. And that used to be this thing called affirmative action, right? And where you say, listen, if we need 100 police officers and the community is 50-50 black, white, we're going to hire 50 police officers, white, 50 black. But where the problem arose in the past is that they said, well, we're going to lower the standard. And so now you have a conflict. So there's equal opportunity, and then you start talking about outcome. See the difference? Just like if you went to college and you got D's and you didn't do anything and you were partying all the time, and I went and I studied my ass off and I got A's, and at the end the school took my A away from me, gave me a C, and took your F away and gave you a C.
I don't think that's happening anywhere though.
Well, but this is what the people are asking for this. So my question to you, what do you think about in this world of equity, where we want to have equal outcomes, and everybody should be able to do whatever they want to do and participate, and Should we lower the standard for lifeguarding, or
Well,
for that matter?
I think we've had this discussion off air, but I think we disagree a little bit on the definition of equity. I think that's where, because to me,
Equality or equity?
the word equity and the meaning of it.
So what does it mean?
Because the way I understand it is that equity does not mean equality of outcome when I think of it. Equity is giving people the opportunity that they need and the support that they need in order to get to a place that is to be in a position to get to a place that is much more difficult for them to get to compared to someone who's privileged.
So how would you do that? And what do you mean by privilege? So first of all, stop there.
So
what do you mean by privilege, number one, and how would you get there?
I'm privileged
How?
because I had two parents in my home growing up. They were at all my sports games. They paid for me to do everything I wanted to do.
Okay, stop.
As a kid.
How about what you had was normal?
What I have is not normal.
No, that is normal.
That's not normal.
No, that's was normal. Wait, stop. This is where the problem arises. Your proposal here is that you have two parents, you had them loving, and that's abnormal. Oh no, that's privileged. I'm telling you. No, wait, stop.
Well,
no,
you're not letting me finish my point.
But you're telling me that you're privileged. I'm saying I don't even believe you're privileged because I think that's normal. That's normal. Why is that not normal? Why is it privileged if that's a normal life?
It's not normal because not everybody has that.
That doesn't mean it's not normal.
That's exactly what that normal is. Normal.
How many
is
people?
common.
What do you mean? How many? 5% don't have it. 10%. How many people don't have?
A much.
How
larger
much?
percent of that.
How much? What?
we'd have to look that up.
Okay.
But
What
I
about
think
what
it's
about
more
30%?
than 5% don't have two parents in their home?
Okay. Now let's just say.
Let's just look at how many families are living below the poverty line.
No. Let's stay what you're talking about. What's normal?
Well, that's part of what I'm talking about. That's part of this package of privilege.
Yeah.
Right? Both my parents were there. Both my parents were supportive. Throw money out of the window. That's a huge thing that what's the divorce rate in this country? It's something absurd.
Right. But not 50 years ago. So you
Well,
got to
we're
talk
not talking about 50 years.
Well,
ago.
we're talking about how it was, how it's going. Everything here is a time position. But here, you just said about privilege. Okay, so you got privilege. Privilege is an interesting word. But let's not get off the topic here, equity and everything. So you're saying that you are privileged.
I'm saying that
let's just say you're
the fact that I was
let's just say you're a multimillionaire. That you have money,
the
big
fact
time
that
money.
I was able to go to college with pretty much nothing standing in my way.
Okay.
Is a massive point of privilege.
Okay.
That many kids, whether it's kids from inner city or kids from bumfuck West Virginia, they don't get that opportunity for whatever reasons, whether it's racial, whether it's social, whether it's classist. There is a problem, and I think it's a.
How would you solve that?
I think it's a big. To me, well,
how would you solve that?
We can get into that in a little bit, but I want to define how I think of equity first. The way I see equity is doing whatever we can as a group, and this might be a little bit of a socialist line of thinking, but I think that we should do everything we can as a group to lift up these kids that don't have two parents in the home, don't have these education opportunities, don't have even their schools are not equipped to give them what they need.
How do you do that? How do you do that?
It's a massive social project.
Well, how do you do it though?
I don't know.
Okay.
To me, it's after school programs. I think kids, if they don't have a supportive environment at home, schools should have an open door policy where 24/7 a kid could go in there and feel supported.
I've been around this earth for 65 years. They've thrown money at the schools. They've thrown money at all kinds of things. Here's the thing you have to understand. I know where you're going, and I understand this. Some people, there's always people. I'm talking about opportunity where everybody should be able to go to college. Everybody should be able to.
Well, that's what I mean.
Okay, but here's the thing, though. But not every. But
I just want to point out I think your definition of equality is my definition of equity.
No, they're two different words. If you look at the dictionary, they're different words. So it does not mine or yours. It's what the words mean. The words mean specific things. But let me go back to the
You want me
concept
to look
there.
up equity right now?
No, I did already. I mean,
The quality of being fair and impartial.
Right.
That's all equity is.
Right. What I'm telling you is that equality of outcome. That's
Nowhere,
different.
But nowhere in that definition does it talk about equality of outcome.
No, but I'm just telling you. I'm adding it. I'm telling you what I think.
Okay, so that's your definition of equity.
No. I took the two words together. I know, what does outcome mean? Outcome means you want everybody to have the equal outcome. Let me stop and make another point, because this is all about lifeguarding and everything, where you and I differ. Unfortunately, in this world, we're not born equal. Now, I know the Constitution says, we all men are created equal, and I believe that created equal in the eyes of God. We should have created equal with regard to have the same pursuit in inalienable rights. This is what we believe in this country. Okay, not everybody believes this in the world. Understand that, but in this country, I'm talking about this country. We believe in the founding fathers and the Constitution. This is a constitutional republic, so we believe in that we have all men are created equal with inalienable rights. In other words, given to, if you believe in God or the space or metaverse or whatever, to have these broad rights: life, liberty, and a pursuit of happiness. And so that is what I think we should strive for. Now, how do you get that? Well, one good way to do it is to give everybody equal opportunity. Remember now, not everybody's born equal in the fact that I can't throw a ball 95 miles an hour. I'm 5'8". There's people who are smarter than me, faster than me. You have people who are women, who are men, people who are born with Down syndrome. There's amazing amount of different people coming onto the plate. So the idea is, how do you make these people equal? How do you give them? You want to give them equal opportunities, or do you want to give them equal outcomes? It's two different things. Now, I understand where you're coming from. Let's just say you're privileged. That's fine. We don't even have to make that argument. You were born handsome, smart, unbelievable IQ. You could throw a ball 900 miles an hour. The Yankees sign you up. You're making $200-300 million.
I would never play for the Yankees.
All right, you're an unbelievable athlete or Hollywood star. Blah blah blah. And then you also got the kid who's born, who's born in Calcutta, India, and is starving on every day. How do you fix that? That's a tough one. But my point is, the founding fathers took 4,000 years of history and said, you know what, the best way to do that is to try to give everybody equal opportunity. You got to have safety nets, no doubt about it. You got to have safety nets. If there are people who are born who cannot do things, you need to have a safety net. But what's happening now in this country, there's this push. And I think it's coming from a good place. I don't think it's a bad thing. People want people to have a good time. Now, I'm watching this one student who Steve Crowder was talking to, and he says, I think that this man who says he's a woman should compete with women. And because he says that's and he says in the future we should just have one sport, one entity, as if there's a magic pill that is everybody's going to be equal. In other words, you take this pill and everybody's going to be smart as everybody else, good looking as everybody else, as fast as everybody else. And we're a long way from that. Maybe when we have machines take our bodies over or whatever. But what my point is that we're striving for this equality of outcome, whatever you want to define it, which I think is equity. And I don't think it's attainable. I think that you are setting yourself up for a huge downfall. Now, you look at, and let me just make one point, and I'll let you finish. When you talk about Marxists, and that was the idea of Mao in the 50s. He killed tens of millions of people to get what they thought was the utopia. Stalin, same thing. Even Hitler, the killing fields in Cambodia. We've been down this road. Venezuela right now. We have this idea of we've got to have everybody has equal outcome, and then George Orwell wrote really eloquent books about that, where we're going to try to get an equal outcome. We got to get rid of the people who are bad. And then who takes over but the pigs, So I think you make a good point. That's why I'm saying I think what we really should strive for is two things: is to try to give everybody equal opportunity. This is my opinion. Opportunity. Everybody should have the equal opportunity to flourish. And if they can't, then we got to help them out. But you're not going to help them out to the point where the individual who didn't work or did work, you give them a disincentive. If you look at the slaves, there's papers written. If you're not going to get paid, you're not going to do stuff. You have to nurture human nature. So I understand where you're coming from, but I think one of the things we need to do is tolerance, and tolerance is existence of opinions or behavior that one does not necessarily agree with. That's number one. But also, this thing where we're fighting about in this country right now is outcome and opportunities. You just said it yourself about you feel privilege, which is, and the norm has changed. It's sad that the norm has changed, that a mother and father and being at the games. Maybe what I asked you when I said what we should do, maybe what we should do is encourage the mother and father to stay together.
Well, there's this all comes from just this fucked up cycle that like whether this country was built on the back of like a lot of racism and a lot of intolerance. And
the whole world has been like that.
Yeah, but we can't. We're talking about America as a democracy, but like
it's not a democracy. It's really a constitutional republic. But it's kind of okay. But what what are you saying?
These ideals, but like the whole time, can we really say like this country has lived by those ideals this entire time?
Well,
I think what we're seeing now, and it's not just this equity versus equality stuff. It's all the polarization. Like it comes as a result of I think our leaders for the past 50, 60 years, dropping the bag, and treating people like they're just like numbers on a spreadsheet, and in these communities, you're right. I don't know.
Well, let me make a point. Let me make a point. When you talk about that, first of all, the Roman Empire was great for almost 1,000 years, and it fell. It went into corruption and ineptitude and all kinds of sin. You have had many populations that had died out. This country, think about it. They had slaves, and then you had the revolution. After the revolution, and what the founding fathers said, they put into place a real problem. There was a real conflict at that point with slavery. Ben Franklin wrote eloquently about it. He thought that it should be in the Constitution that we got rid of slavery. The problem is the South the states would never came on board.
I read something interesting about Jefferson because people always.
But let me finish this. Yeah. But you're just saying because you made a statement that we're this country was based on really slavery and racism, but then that's 1776. By the time we roll around to the War of 1812, and then 1850 and going into 60s, we have abolitionaries, we have civil war. We have a civil war, and it's states' rights, but it's also slavery. And after the Civil War, which ended in 1865, this is 2022, over 100 years. Okay.
The end of the Civil War was not the end of racism.
No, I didn't say that. Listen to what I'm saying. Let me follow. First of all, things take time, and but we're moving in along. What I'm saying is, you had the Constitution. You had the Declaration of Independence, and they all men are created equal. Then you had the Civil War, and after the Civil War, you had 3 amendments. At 1865, they freed the slaves. They abolished slavery. They made an amendment where everybody's equal under the law, and they gave the black man the vote.
3/5 of a vote.
No, that was before that. That was with the Constitution. Okay. So the Constitution gave the South for Congress representation, and black man. I don't even know if it was a woman. I think for the state for the representation to get somebody in Congress. The black was 3/4. But that ended. So now what I'm saying is now you have that. Okay, then you had Jim Crow laws and everything. It leached forward, but it went back a little bit. Yeah, Lincoln got assassinated. Then, okay, now you go into 65, you go into the 20s. Now you have the World War I, and a lot of black people fought in there. There was still segregation, the 20s, the 30s. Then you hit the 60s, and I might be passing some stuff. Then you have huge civil rights movements, Martin Luther King, all of that, and unbelievable, Rosa Parks, all that. And so now you leap ahead again. Okay, and it's been going that way. You talk about how quick. But you had a president of the United States who was, I don't know, black, half black. You have 2 Supreme Court justices, well, more, but 2 that are black now, and then the other one, So we're moving in a good direction. If you want to criticize anything, you could say we're not moving fast enough, but we're moving We're getting better and better and better. And where else in this world is it any better than the United States? Where else can a black...
I'm not saying that at all.
But what are you saying then? It could be better? Yeah.
What I'm saying is I don't think people are as willing to recognize that, like, we have, in a lot of ways, socially done all of the work to, like, start to move past that stuff. But we're absolutely still suffering the consequences.
Oh yeah, and also there's still prejudice. There's still
forget even prejudice. Just think about what, just like the way that let's just use like black people in the inner city, for example, the way that these people were forced into these neighborhoods and just arrested for crack cocaine for like 2-3 decades for a drug that you could argue like was targeted at this group of people. And now you have, so say, a dad in the 60s got arrested. So his kid grows up without a dad in the family. So that's all he knows. So he either starts selling drugs or ends up getting a girl pregnant when he's 16 because he didn't have a dad to and then this cycle just continues.
So how do you fix it, dude? How do you fix it?
Education.
All right, well, there's tons of education.
My belief is that
all right, well,
the only place to start to fix these issues is in the classroom, and it starts with hiring the right people. That's the absolute main thing, but like also like having a structure in place where kids can feel supported if they don't feel supported at home.
Let me tell you something.
I think it all comes down to that. I think it all comes down to a proper support
Well, then throw
structure.
more money at it, because they've been, I hear that the Baltimore School District, which has the worst outcomes, has the highest amount of money thrown at it. It's not just money.
That's why I said it's a personnel issue.
Here it is. It's not even a person. It's people. Okay,
that's what
people.
I mean.
It's the people who live there. It's the neighborhood. It's the people where the fathers leave the kids.
But this is
why
exactly
they leave it?
Because they're stuck in a cycle.
Okay, well then break his cycle.
Nobody is telling these kids that they can break that cycle. You know what happens to a kid in the inner city who says, "I want to get out"? They get shit on.
Well, what city? But tell me, what city? Chicago?
Go to Harlem, New York.
Okay. Well,
if a kid from Harlem says, "I want to be an engineer," his dad, if he's there, is going to tell him he can't do it.
Yeah, but
his teacher is going to fucking tell him he can't do it.
So there have been black mayors, there's been black president. Why the 8 years that Barack Obama was the most powerful man in the world? Why couldn't he?
Some might argue that Putin's got a lot of power.
No, but for the president of the United States, no, I don't care who it is. Why didn't he fix it in the 8 years that he was there?
Because it's not that simple.
Okay, well then what do you want?
Like you said, these things take a very, very, very long time.
So what I'm saying is we're moving in a good direction.
I'm not disagreeing with you.
What I'm telling you is pushing us back, though. When I'm making a point, this is where great. I'm glad you said that. We are moving in, and it's very, very difficult. It's very difficult to change behavior. Listen, we bit the apple. Adam and Eve bit the apple. We're sinners, and you may not believe that, but we are at heart sinners. We do bad things. We sin. We're still raping, murdering. There's still pedophiles. There's still all kinds of crap. But How do you break this? You got to give those people, anybody anybody out there, opportunity. That's where I think is the way to go. Am I 100% sure? Do I know? No, I don't walk on water. Only God knows. But what I'm telling you is what I see coming out now is trying to change, having a guy who takes hormones and then compete against girls and saying that's going to make things better. It's not. It's going to make things worse. It's going to, girls are not going to be able to compete when you lower the standards, like with lifeguarding. The whole concept here was, should we lower the standards?
I don't think that's ever going to happen, regardless.
What, lower standards for lifeguarding?
I just think that's way different.
No, it's not. It's talking about giving somebody the ability to do something. The woman brought it up. People bring these things up. People talk about in school, have no grades, have no class, have no numerical grades, pass or fail. That's it. Because it's SATs, it's biased this way, it's biased that way. My point is that we are struggling with exactly what you're saying. I don't know the answers either. I think one of the answers is to give opportunity. No, you asked me about lifeguarding. I thought you were going to ask me the question. No, I don't think you should lower the standard, because what happens when you lower the standard? I mean, you know what? Like, I swam in college. I did a 630 and a 500. Joe Casino, he does 540. What do they do now? Under 4 minutes. I mean, it is people doing 5 minute 500s. So the test is 10. That's pretty far out there. Maybe you can make it 11. But when you start lowering the standards, and the lifeguard's there and can't make the rescue, and 5 people drown or some kid drowns, are we doing the best? My point is, we have to have a level of excellence. We still have to reward. Like I used to say, the cream rises to the top. We have to take the best that we have and encourage them also. But we also have to have a big safety net. And going with regard to, batching each other on the radio and TV and calling each other names and having fights, we should learn tolerance. Maybe Putin and Ukraine need to know tolerance. I'm hoping, like I'm praying, that tomorrow somebody's going to say, that's it, all done. Both of them, peace talks, and end it. People dying left and right. Nobody wants that. But you make a good point. But if you start throwing the idea out, well, you're privileged, and because of that, your privilege, somehow caused those other people to have nothing. That's a dangerous road. And I hear people talking about that. Well, because you're privileged, or this is what Mao said. You know what Mao did when he took over in China? They took all property away from everybody. No girlfriends, no boyfriends. You couldn't date. You couldn't have sex. I'm not kidding around. No, they took your animals away, your homes, no property. Okay? So you got to be careful, Tyler, when you start talking about, well, you got something. Because you know what? If I'm poor and I'm down and out and I can't make it, and I'm born,
but
I'm going to take it away from you.
I'm talking about what I have as a result of a system that was purposely set up to allow me to have that, and also purposely set up to not allow other people to have that.
I don't see that anymore. I don't see that.
You don't see it anymore, but it was for however many decades, and this cycle hasn't ended.
Right.
Within these communities where these issues exist. And
you know how many people? Let me say. You know how many people died in war, in Civil War? How many people died fighting over this argument?
I know.
You have
in the
any
Battle
idea?
of Antietam, over 50,000 Americans.
About
died.
800,000. Anyways, they don't know for sure. 600 to 800,000 men died fighting for the idea of what it meant to be free, and what the definition of all men are created equal. Because a lot of people in this country thought that only white people were equal. Well, that didn't work out. And you had the Civil War, and then you had the 3 amendments, which said, F you, they're equal. Black people, and they made it law. We had World War I, same thing. You had for freedom and what was going on in Europe. You had World War II. You go to Arlington, I think there's, 400,000 people, men, who gave their lives. Think about this now. Gave their lives for our ideals. They'll be, if you pull one of those guys out of the grave right now in Arlington, put him right on that chair over there, say, hey, dude, what'd you die for? He'll say the same thing. He'll say the Constitution of the United States, all men are created equal, blah, 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 blah. Endowed under their inalienable rights. right? And so we have to also honor that and say things are moving in a good direction. I know where you're coming from. We need to identify what's going on, and there's still a lot of prejudice. I agree with you 100%. There's still people who don't give a crap about other people. They're all more worried about money and greed, but I don't want to destroy our system, throw the baby out with the bathwater. We need to identify and understand that corruption and greed are not right. We should all have opportunities where everybody could do well. What were we going to say? I'm sorry.
No, see, the crazy thing is, like, from my point of view, you know, I've always, from when I was a kid, like, believed that, you know, my generation, younger people, we are, like, generally more tolerant than, like, any group of people that's ever, like, lived.
You didn't live during the 60s, the hippies. They were very tolerant.
It's because they were all whacked out. They couldn't tell each other apart.
The
point I'm making is intolerance obviously still exists.
Absolutely.
But I think
absolutely.
I think we're, in a lot of ways, like, some people are tricked by that into thinking that the effects of intolerance also no longer exist.
No. Listen,
do you get what I'm saying?
No, I agree with you.
And because of that, I think that's why we have such an extreme reaction on the other side.
Okay, I'll tell you what. I agree with that. I think that we still have the legacy of slavery in this country, no doubt about it. But here's the other thing. You know, we also have the legacy of people fighting against it and giving their lives for it. I
Absolutely.
You know, you look at Nazi Germany. This was a country. Germany at the time was a very sophisticated country, very educated. They murdered, eliminated, 60, 80, 8 million Jews. You know, you had.
Well, that's kind of the point I'm making. People can be tricked into thinking things are good.
I don't think they're tricked. I think that,
like, by
I don't know. So I don't know if they're. You know, I don't buy that they're tricked. Here's the thing: human nature, if left to, it depends if you're a Jeffersonian. If you go back in our founding fathers, and they fought like cats and dogs. But if you're a Jeffersonian or Adams, one guy would say people are inherently good, and the other one would say people are inherently bad. And you got to have something control the masses. Now, Mao and Stalin, they have iron fists. No religion, no freedom of speech, no, you can't own guns. And if you get out of line, we put a bullet in your head. But if you follow our line, we'll give you some bread. And and Russia might be a little bit better than China, but that's it. Now, but the founding fathers, you got to understand something. This place is unique where we are because these guys got together. And they did something that's an amazing thing. What stops us from exploding in this country and is the Constitution, the Bill of Rights, but also the states. And the states right now are, and that's what happened with the Civil War, was the states. And I think you'll see that in the future. The gas valve to let stuff out, to let steam out, is the states. Right now, DeSantis said. He was saying that if Stacey Abrams, who's very to the left, takes over Georgia, he says, there's going to be a major problem because he's got Cuba to his south, and then he's saying Georgia to his north. My point is that this is a unique situation here, and you're absolutely right, Tyler. We're evolving. I think a lot of people on the left, but liberals. People way to the left are crazy, but I think that. What they're upset about is it's not happening fast enough. I don't think they're bad people, but I don't think they think that we're moving fast enough.
I definitely agree with you on that, and that's something that I've thought about, like, a lot. I think that because, like I said, like we consider ourselves, like, very, very tolerant. I've never, and I grew up in Jackson, New Jersey, so that's it's not extreme one way or the other, right?
Yeah.
But I never really experienced that much, like, through my own eyes. Obviously, like, I'm not likely to be on the receiving end of it.
I saw it when I was younger, and I saw it when I went down south. And I didn't see it as bad as my mom. My mom went somewhere, and she said Now, my mom grew up in Bayonne, New Jersey, and the city was a melting pot. I mean, I grew up with all kinds of kids, and so we were more tolerant. We all had. It was interesting because we were all what we had in common. We were all poor. So, but my mom went somewhere down south, and she talked about it, before she died, actually, how she was reflecting on her life, and she couldn't believe when she saw the sign, and it said, colored people only, for the bathrooms or whatever. And she never saw anything like that. It wasn't in the cities, we grew up. I never had that. Nobody ever said that. But there was definitely, different neighborhoods where, you had the Jewish people here, the Polacks here, the Italians here, so there was.
And that goes to the point I'm making. Like, my generation's never really seen that, especially to that extent.
But let me tell you something.
But
Social.
Just real quick, like you made that point. Like, we got impatient, and we started screaming and kicking our feet and saying this needs to happen now, and it just got so out of hand. And there was probably a few fucking crazy college professors along the way that fed into it. And now we do have this situation now where like everything is so polarized. And but I think that it was always like, for my generation, like the only way to like change stuff is like time, obviously. And like we couldn't even be patient enough to like wait till like we were moving into those positions.
Yeah,
but also I'm talking like
no.
I don't know.
No. What you got to understand is that I study another way to look at this. I tell you, and I think it's very important to have ethnic groups, because people like people, and the Italians, and it's that's not a bad thing. But let me make a thing. I studied comparative religion, okay, and I was a biology major, a physics minor, and I took as an elective comparative religion. And what I took from that is interesting. When you study, there was his name was Joe Campbell. He was one of the pioneers. Wrote a lot of books with comparative religion, and he said, religion. He said it was invented basically. But basically exists. Religion exists to answer the questions that we have as human beings, and what are they? And no matter who you are, where you are, one question is, what happens? Why are we here? Who are we? Why are we here? Why do we exist? What happens when we die? Okay. Why do we have to kill to survive? Pretty much, I mean, you could grow, wheat and everything, but we still kill animals. We kill fish. We kill, I mean, we don't do it personally, but somebody's doing it. These are why when we born, why some people black and some people Asian? Why some people smart? Why people some stupid? Why does a baby die at 9 months? Why I could go on and on. We're not equal in regard to what we're given. Why does God let a baby be born who's deformed and dies when they're 3 years old? Why? There's people who are born. I mean, I think that you're good. We talk about transgender now. You're born straight. You're born gay. Why does God? Why are people born gay? Why does God let that happen? Or why does it? What's the condition? There's people. I think that they're pedophiles. They're born these schizophrenia. It goes on and on. So we have this world where we sit there and go, what the hell? How do you deal with all this? And it gets overwhelming. Now I deal with it. I believe in Jesus Christ. I'm a Christian, and that puts things in order for me. And other people are Buddhists, and other people are Muslims, and then other people have other things that they deal with. Scientists.
I identify most with paganism, probably.
Yeah, well, whatever. Well, you're. But my point is we have however you deal with it. The reality is it's there, and so then we come back and. I mean,
you could even, for a lot of people, consider science.
Yeah, well, that's what they're trying to do. That's what the metaverse is. That's what a lot of these guys like maybe Elon Musk and Zuckerberg. All they want to get into that metaverse and that singularity and all of that. But that's another issue for another day. My point is that what we're talking about here is equity, equality, and how do we deal with it, and where do we go forward? We started the whole thing about should we hire a lifeguard, who is not qualified or
By the
less
way,
qualified.
lifeguard season is starting soon.
Right. But it's a good point, and we don't know. But I could tell you, I think that one thing I think we could agree on, whether or not the definition we agree, but everybody should have an opportunity. Again, I go back to the Declaration of Independence. And I would change it and say all people are created equal. And I would say with inalienable rights, with rights from wherever you want to say, I say with the Creator, whoever created us or whatever created us, and you could expand, but life, that means you have the right to live, which means, nobody should have the right to take your life away from you, which means you should have the right to protect yourself too. Mm-hmm. And life, liberty. What does liberty mean? I don't have to live on my knees. I don't have to live with my boot. Like you said, you don't have to live in poverty where you got to beg for food, or because you're a black person you have to be lower, or because you're a Jew you have to be spit on, or all through history. You know what I'm saying? And life, and the pursuit of happiness. That's a big term. They want to have property, but happiness. That's a wide open thing, happiness. Whatever makes you happy. Obviously, if you're a pedophile, we're not going to let, we have limits. I'm not being a joke, but I mean, you can't, it makes you happy. Mm-hmm. Well, we're not, it's hurtful. But as long as it's within, the realm of not hurting other people, so we should be pushing towards that. Now,
would you agree that we've lost sight of that a little bit?
I think we always lost sight. They lost it in the Roman Empire. They lost sight of it, in Nazi Germany. They lost sight of it in Mao. They lost sight of it. We lost sight here in the United States. I mean, with the Roaring '20s, went into a depression. I mean, we've lost sight of it. After when they shot Lincoln, we went right back to the Jim Crow laws. We abused people. Basically slavery was still to a certain degree. It was a class of human beings that were treated like shit. Absolutely, and it's still happening today. Here's an interesting thing. I'm not for open borders, but I'm open. I want immigration. My grandfather came here, and here's the thing, though, which is interesting. That's why I'm a little bit this way, that way. When we have this, we talk about the immigration. Go look at the Statue of Liberty. You should pull it up right now and see what's on the bottom. I was there. I've seen it. Okay, you know what it says? Bring me basically your miserable. Mm-hmm. Your huddled masses. Bring me your miserable. Bring me your garbage. Like yeah. Because that now, and it still gives me, my grandfather came over here. Well, he was a kulak.
The get out of my country people are right. All idiots because literally everyone in this country is an immigrant. Right. But if you go back far.
Yeah,
enough.
yeah, but they have arguments that it should be done legally, and my grandfather came over here legally, and so I think that it's not the argument of immigration, it's how it's done and why it's done. We're an elderly, we're an aging population, and I tell you, people that I know from everybody in my world, there's people from South America, they're Catholics, they're Christians, they're good family people. I think they're great people, and it's funny, after a couple generations, they turn conservative. But my point is that human beings are fragile. We tend to go in a bad direction. That's why the founding fathers, the Constitution, the Bill of Rights is what's holding, what's the most important thing. Because we have law right now. Right now, we do have times. The country goes up and down as far as corruption and prejudice, and I think that if you look at the bell curve, it goes like that. So, but we're going up. We go down, up, down, up. But as long as we're going in that good, direction, that's the way I look at it. But I tell you, a lot of people don't think it's happening fast enough. We take 10 steps forward, 5 steps back. When Lincoln, with Civil War, they were going to have Reconstruction in the South. And if you you look at the literature and everything, they wanted to do they wanted to take away the property from the South and give it to the blacks and farmers. He got shot, and it set us back,
I think, I just think at the end of the day, this whole conversation is always going to round back to tolerance and empathy.
That's why I put up their tolerance. Can get rid of that thing from it.
Just look at it this way: if some like a Republican, let's say, that whatever hates the idea of an abortion, if that person is actually able to take themselves and put themselves in another person's shoes who might have a really good reason to get an abortion, let's say, like whether it's they were raped or they're not in a position where this kid would be able to have a good life. If that could happen more, I think people would be a lot more understanding. But we are very, very, very blinded by the rhetoric right now. And it's like, and even the same thing with like the Lia Thomas, right? This trans swimmer. Like, do I think that what went down is fair? No, I don't think it's fair. I don't think it's equal. I don't think it's equitable. I don't think it's any of the above. But do I think that girl has a right to compete as an athlete?
It's not a girl, it's a guy.
Oh, it's a girl.
No, he's not.
I'm going to call her a girl because
it's not a girl.
Well, I disagree with you there.
Well, I do DNA. He, first of all, he's got a penis, but even if he didn't have a penis, he's still
fine. Well,
listen, you're born a man, you're a man. You could change. You can't change your DNA. He's still got the DNA. So there's a difference. There's a difference. We're born. But anyway, I want to make a point that you talked about. Finish that up.
Regardless of whether you'll call her a girl or not, she has a right to compete. What the solution for that is, I don't know. But due to the fact that like being an athlete who's been in positions where I couldn't compete at times for whatever reason, like that sucks.
Right.
And as an athlete, that's all you want to do, right?
Right.
What's the solution to allow her to compete? I don't know. Maybe and this is something I actually put a lot of thought into today. Maybe it's all just one division based on performance. And the way it'll work out is the bottom half will generally be female and the top half will generally be male. And in the middle, there's whatever kind of mixture. But
yeah, so
you swim your time, that's your rank on this list of college athletes, and you break it off into divisions based on performance. That's the only solution I can think of.
Right. Well, I can tell you, I'll give you some. Let me make a couple of things. First of all, about all of this, okay? You got what's happening. Your generation is you guys bring back common sense. I'll make a thing about abortion, okay? Abortion is killing a baby, okay. But let me just say, it's one of those things. Why we die. What are we here for? Why do we have a situation where we do have a situation where you may not want the baby? Say somebody got raped or whatever.
Could you
wait? I understand. No, but listen. But listen. Let me follow my thought. It's an unfortunate situation, and people were doing it. They didn't want the baby. No law was about it. They just do it in the backyard or back rooms or whatever. Then they finally said, listen, let's pass a law. Let's get it done out in the open so women don't die, because women were dying from these abortions. And they said, we're going to have a very tight rein on it. We're going to have it, the first month, and that's it. And maybe only for rape and only for, really bad, the baby's disease or whatever. And then what happens is it's gotten to the point where, like in New York State, you could kill the baby 1 hour before it's born. And even when it's born, if it's born, not with some problems, you could make it comfortable and knock it off. Germany did the same thing. It was called euthanasia. They had a department of euthanasia way before they had killing the Jews. They took it to the next step. Let's get rid of the old people. They're old. Let's knock them off. The babies, we don't want them. Let's knock them off. So what happened is we went overboard. I think that with abortion, the women say, yes, I have the right to have an abortion, and because it's my body. Well, but it's also the man's child also, because you got, as far as I know, you still need a man, all right, with sperm, and a woman with a vagina, well, not a vagina, but an ovary, to have a baby. And I
think the vagina is also necessary.
Well, I could stick it in there, but so common sense.
I'm gonna clip that.
So common sense is, in my opinion, is, listen, it's got to be brought back. You want to have abortion, it's got to be on a very limited thing. And here's the thing: how about the other side of the coin is let's not make it a business. Let's not what's the word I want to use? Make it easy to do, make it accommodative. Let's try to maybe push for adoptions. I tell you, in a personal thing, Ava, my granddaughter. I don't know if they, she was, how she was born. I mean, I couldn't imagine, without that kid in this world. So, and how many abortions, how many people would have been Einsteins, or how many people would have done all kinds of things. So that's number one. Now,
this is also like a lack of education issue too,
okay,
because a lot of,
but it's compromising, common sense.
A lot of, just real quick, a lot of poverty areas is where you have like
right.
these families with ridiculous amount of kids because they've never been taught contraception.
But I'm going to try to give you
simple.
But I'm going to try to give you an understanding. When I was doing my residency, when I was training, we had girls coming in who were using abortion as birth control. They were on their 10th abortion. You understand?
Yeah, I'm not arguing
and they tell me that's right. So what do you? So
I'm not saying that's right, but I think that like,
well,
it should be an option for like the circumstances that it's necessary.
I understand, but it went overboard. So we have to rein it in. That's my point. Now, getting with the swimming again, you said, first of all, women and men are different. Common sense, they're stronger, bigger. Right now, unless there's a magic pill or we do surgery, all the hormones in the world ain't going to make a difference. You're still, this guy who beat this girl, who's a silver medalist, he was ranked, 500? It ain't going to happen.
In the 450s.
Right. So here's the deal. You have two divisions. That's it. If you're transgender, that's it's unfortunate. I don't know why Guy did that. Have transgender then league. That's all. And if there's only one in there, well, then you win everything. And when more get in there, that's fine. That would be, to me, an easy thing. What you think about it? I swam in college. I busted my ass. I can imagine a girl training her ass off, going in there, and because she wants to get a gold medal, or she wants to get a scholarship, and she doesn't have the money or to pay, and then you got some guy who's going to come in there and kick you out. That's crazy. That's not fair. And you say, well, what's fair and what's not fair? Again, equal opportunity. If you want to give the transgender group, equal opportunity, then get another league. I don't think it's that big of a deal. I don't see why not. You want to do another league? Do it. It costs money. Do another league. Why not do another league?
You start doing that, then you're going to have a trans league and
another,
and then a rainbow league, and then
fine. All right. Well, I could tell you right now,
a pansexual league.
I could tell you right now though. But here's the other alternative. If you tell me my daughter has to swim against a guy, I'm going to protest that. I'm going to, try to vote you out of power. I'm going to do whatever I can. I'm not going to go violent, but I'm just saying. Or she won't swim. They'll do something else. Why would anybody want to do that? If they can't win, or they're going to have it taken away from them, and to have one group unisex, that ain't going to happen. That's getting away from common sense. That's all I'm saying. We're getting back to the opportunity for everybody. And I understand you want to give, but here's the thing: you're gonna give the transgender, that girl, an opportunity to compete, but you're taking it away from somebody else. Just like listen, the pedophile, a guy who's born a pedophile, like what about all the priests and the YMCA? So they are out there. Why don't you? Why do we have a law that says you can't mess around with a child?
That's a little bit different than
wait, no, but may answer the question.
Transitioning.
No, but it's you're hurting somebody.
That's way different than someone winning a gold medal over someone else.
He's hurting, that woman or boy is hurting other girls. She would have won, now she didn't win. There's girls who wouldn't get a scholarship because there's going to be guys who are competing and they're stronger. So that's not right. You're hurting people. Maybe not the same level, but we have in this country and this world certain things that we do and don't do. We say, no, that's not fair. That's not right. That hurts people. That's why we outlaw certain things, okay? So, and what I'm just saying is that if you want to have your equity, or you want to have, then give them. Then you'll have to have 5 or 6 whatever leagues. And if it gets stupid, all right, get stupid. But that's what you guys want. Or then say, sorry, you're a minority. There's only 1%. How many? I don't know how many transgenders there are. I don't like the idea.
1%.
Yeah, but see, there's one. I think I'll tell you, I agree with the left. I don't think the number should make a difference. Why do you think that? Why, if you say it's only 1%, so to hell with them. Why do you think I disagree with that?
Because that's stupid. Because they're people.
Right. You could say that when the civil rights law, right? How many blacks were there in this country? You could say, well, they don't, it's only a minority. No. Even if one transgender person is dealt with in a bad way, that's not what we want to do. But how do you fix it? And again, we have this conflict. Whoever created this world, how it was created, we're in conflict, and I see it every day. So how do you fix it? And I think that what I'm just saying is that, you say he's a boy, he's a girl. I don't know what he is. I don't know what normal, abnormal. I hate using that, normal and abnormal. I know you say, privilege and non-privilege. It's reality. And how do you deal with it? I just think that lowering the standards or like same thing with lifeguarding, you got to have a certain standard because what'll happen is people will drown. There'll be bad outcomes. So there's certain places where we say no. I don't think we should have, women in combat, because for a lot of different reasons. But there's some women out there who kick the shit out of me any day, and beat you up. But we do have certain societal norms and things that we want to try to do. All in the aspect of trying to keep in the back of our mind to keep everybody, try to make equal opportunity. So it's a big issue. Your generation is going to have to deal with it, and we're getting crazy. But what I'm just saying is, don't deteriorate, don't take away from the core values of this country, which is, in my opinion, the Bible, the Constitution, the Bill of Rights, and capitalism. And those things, I think, if we keep strong, we'll continue on to get through this. And it doesn't happen fast enough, but
Well, I don't think we need to look at trans swimmers to figure that out. We got to look at the people in charge.
Yeah, listen, corruption.
That are
it's
getting away from the core values.
It's right. It's corruption, and it's corruption. It's greed. Go look at why the Roman Empire fell apart. It's been there for such a long time. And people, this is Easter, so this is very Holy Week for me. So we were talking about when Christ, when he was still alive, he was going into Jerusalem. And they were like, oh, you're the greatest thing in the palms. They gave him the palms, and he's on a donkey. He's going into Jerusalem. And everybody's, oh, my Lord, and he's the greatest thing. 3 days later, the same people who were saying that to him were like, crucify him. and human people are bad. My point is that this is what you got in this world, and you have to, look at it. But I think that we go back. We always say at the end of the show is tolerance. Everybody, in my opinion, is equal, and we should try to not have a war with somebody who we disagree in. Disagree 100%, and not get violent. And look at this. Again, in the thing that's going on right now in Russia. And I know we will end this soon. But they're trying to solve their problems by killing each other.
I know. Did you hear about the shit on the subway?
Oh, in New York.
Yeah.
Yeah, it sounds like some crazy. Yeah, it's sad. Yeah,
16 people got shot. This fucking psycho just walked in with a gas bomb or a smoke grenade.
That's one thing.
And a gun, and just started shooting up a subway car.
That's one thing I don't understand, and I never will. I got to talk to my psychiatry buddies, but why somebody picks up a gun, like these kids or whatever, and then go into a high school or go wherever and just off like a million people? I don't get it. If you hate life, then just why don't you just kill yourself? I shouldn't even say that, but I don't understand. You shouldn't even do that.
I would not recommend anyone does that. Go find help. Go talk to someone.
I know. I don't get it, and this is why. This is why people get in the world, Tyler. You get depressed, and you look at this. You're like, well, I go to what about when they were chopping Americans' heads off, or you got these blow up these bombs in what do you call it in Paris? But this is nothing new. You go back in the 70s. Look at the carnage that went on in the 70s. It was people blowing up stuff, dying. We could get so deep in this. Right now, over 100,000 people your age dying of drug overdoses. Fentanyl drug overdose. It's probably over 110.
A kid I used to play soccer with, I won't say his name, but last week just overdosed.
Yeah. 110. It's out of control. It's worse now than it's ever been. And I don't want. It's coming from the border. Now, whose policy? I don't want to get into the politics. But the other thing is, there's kids committing suicide between 10 and 18 years old, it's 13% increase.
This all goes into what I've been like the point I've been making. Like millennials get a lot of flack for all the craziness that's happening, especially with the left right now. But we're a symptom of a very sick society.
Yeah.
Absolutely. What society produces an entire generation of drug addicted, anxiety riddled kids that have no idea where they're going and have hundreds of thousands of dollars of debt.
Right. Yeah. You know what though? I don't think it's the debt. I mean, I had $80,000 worth of debt when I was in 1980.
Yeah, but
82.
You're a doctor though. Like that's a doctor now.
Listen,
you're gonna have like 400K.
I tell you what. You know, I'll give you the quick thing, and I want to end this. Okay, how much time?
There's people with liberal arts degrees that have over $100,000 worth of debt.
But I know people who have debt and they're doing very well. They're working. I would tell you this, no doubt about it. Poverty is a big problem, but we've had poverty back in the day. It's not just poverty; it's part of it. We don't teach, we don't understand. A lot of people don't remember history, so they have no perspective. We gave up religion. You know, back in the day, I think almost everybody, prayed and had something, a higher purpose or a higher standard or something higher to look at. I think there's many, many things. And I think you're absolutely right, too. I think our leaders are corrupt. We get lied to left and right, left and right, on both, right and left. You don't know what to believe anymore. And if you're not a strong individual, this world could be really rough. And it's sad. And I don't know what the answer is. I don't think communism, I don't think living in China, I don't think they have any better, certainly Russia, So we're if we go down here, where is the world? Where is anything? So then
I heard Puerto Rico is pretty nice.
Yeah, well, not, listen, I lived in Puerto Rico. I mean, it's part of the United States. But my point is that once the United States goes, some people say we're done, the end of the world is coming. I am more optimistic. I think that we've been down this road before. We're in a tough time right now, no doubt about it. We call it skinny. When you're driving a boat and you're kind of in low water. We're in low water right now. The bottom of a boat is hitting the bottom, and we hopefully we can maneuver out of it because we could have World War III. And I always tell you this. Einstein said World War III. I don't know how it's going to be fought, but World War IV is going to be fought with sticks and stones. So, we could end it. There's a great Jackson Brown song. I think it's called The Dancer. And he says, it could end tomorrow. All the things that you learned. I mean, people have written about this. It's nothing new.
I just hope the aliens come down soon and tell us it's all going to be good.
Yeah.
It's all good, guys. Stop fighting.
Yeah. You remember the one Twilight Zone, the guy come down? They had a book. It was To Serve Man. Did you ever see that one? So the aliens come down. And they come in a big ship and they say, we're here to serve man. They actually had a book. It says To Serve Man. They ended all wars, all poverty, everything. No murders. Everything was great. And they were taking people to their planet for vacations.
Then they ate them.
And what it is as the guy's getting on the plane, on the rocket ship, his wife yells up and she goes, the book, it's a cookbook. So anyway, let's end it on that.
Yeah, I gotta get out of here.
Listen, you know what? We talked about lifeguarding, and lifeguarding is great. I think that one thing I could tell you, most lifeguards that I know are very tolerant, very generous. Really, as a group, we save people's lives, and I think as a group we're pretty good. I think there's a lot of people who rescue, police, firemen, lifeguards, and you're in that business. I'm going to save anybody. I'm going to save. I don't care. I don't care if you're black, white, whatever you are. We're going to save you, and we're going to save you at the same intensity that we save anybody else. And there's none of that. And I think that
I had a thought when you mentioned. Someone with one arm or someone who's a little bit intellectually disabled wanting to be a lifeguard, and the millennial in me thinks kind of I think those people do deserve that opportunity. And then I thought about CHIPS program with the junior lifeguards, how they're bringing 15-year-olds in and paying them, and they're not given any responsibility. And I think something like similar like that, like kind of like a work program for people with people who are a little bit differently abled would be a kind of a cool, almost like a junior guard program, but like designed to add some like structure and like a job environment into someone's life who's like living in a group home or.
That's a great idea. It's a great idea. But and it's a great idea. But what would be nice, Tyler, if we don't have to be forced to do things like that, where, and we've done it. I don't want to say we've done an our beach troll, but I can tell you right now, we've hired people of different colors. We've hired people who. We try to give everybody a break, but that's what being Christian, charity. We're the most charitable country in the world. Mm-hmm. So when I say I don't want to have somebody say you have to do this, you have to bring on somebody who's unqualified. But you know what? We should be striving to not lower the limits, but within the safety factor, try to give everybody an opportunity to be a lifeguard, like you said. And I think it's great if we could have people in there, the junior lifeguard program, or, there are programs where you bring people in and you give them opportunity. That's why I'm all for, bringing these city kids and giving them an opportunity in different areas of the world. And but you make a good point. We need to do, we should think about it. Can we, everybody who's listening to this, who's a lifeguard or captain, or, if you have somebody there who is on the edge or marginal, you might want to give them a break. They might surprise you.
Might surprise you.
Absolutely, absolutely. And I think that's a good thing. And I think that's a really good thing. And I think, we could end on that.
Listen, I'll end with.
I'll give you some music too.
Well, first of all, Moonwater is releasing a new album on May 10th. Everybody should go check them out. They're nice enough to let us use their song every week. And they're playing a show next Thursday.
You said it was up in Asbury Park.
No, it's. I think it's 2 weeks.
What's their webpage? What's their webpage?
Go check them out online. They
Can
have
you put
an
it up
Instagram
there?
page.
Do you have anything for them?
No, I don't have anything up there.
So they could go. Can they go on our Instagram and find their credentials there?
Yeah, they can check
put
everything out on
put our Instagram thing up. Can you do it right now?
But.
So put our thing. So here it is.
You said, someone might surprise you. Kid from my rookie year, Todd, he came in and nobody thought he was going to last. Nobody thought he was going to last. And every year he just kept coming back, and every year he kept getting better. And by the time he left, we were the last two guys from my rookie class, and he was easily one of the better lifeguards we had. Yeah.
So what our message to all our colleagues out there is, number one, tolerance. Mm-hmm. And tolerance, where's our board here? Tolerance exists, can get rid of that thing. Opinions or behavior that one does not, so you tolerate behavior that one does not necessarily agree with. So we're gonna all try to practice tolerance, okay? And also, maybe we should start looking at these people. And one of the things that I was taught when I was in Catholic school is, when you walk in and you see like we used to call them bums, but you see a guy laying on the street, looks disheveled, maybe a heroin addict. And the nuns used to tell me, they said, that could be Jesus Christ right there. That could be God, testing you. And the other side of the coin is they're a human being. They have just as much right. And I know it's tough, and I know maybe they're terrible, and they don't. But we should start really trying to turn the other cheek, and trying to look beyond the prejudice and the stereotypes, and try to reach out to the other side. Because if not, we're all doomed. If we don't work together, we'll perish separately. Bad. We'll all go. It'll be bad. And already you see what's going on in, Ukraine and Russia. I don't know why that's happening, but why? The other thing is, it shouldn't be happening. We shouldn't be doing that anymore. You say, we haven't evolved. Exactly. We're killing each other. And it's bad. So but how do you fix that? Well, I can tell you, by us doing it. By you and I accepting different opposing points. By you and I, giving the guy on the ground $5, maybe give him a cup of coffee. You change the world one person at a time.
Pay it forward, baby.
That's it. So anyway, listen, everyone, thank you for listening. Tyler, you want to give us the out?
Follow us on Instagram at lg.association. I'm going to throw this graphic up real quick. Let's see. Facebook, Google Play, Twitter, Twitch, YouTube, Spotify, Apple Podcasts, Audible. We're all those. Dr. Catchmore at iCloud.com. That's our email. If you have any questions, you can also send an email to lifeguardsoffduty@gmail.com. Jersey Shore Foot and Leg Center.com, where you can find all your foot and leg surgery needs. And the phone number is 732-237-4949.
Lots of calls here. And start looking for our videos. We're going to start doing video clips from the beach when we start training and working out. And so there's Dr. Catchmore. Who's that to the right? Right
That's
there.
Catchmore to the right.
Yeah, baby. There you go, number 7. All right, guys. So listen, you want to say, give us an out?
Stay out.
And stay alive. Stay out and stay alive. Thank you, everyone. Take care.
Spread love.